Welcome everyone to Already Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 4, Episode 11. It's called Data's Day. So, full spoilers for the episode, as always. This episode kind of takes a, dare I say, Zeppo-esque approach to storytelling, in that we follow Data whilst lots of things are going on in the ship, and it's all about how he perceives all these various things, and how he's trying to pick up lessons from various people about various, human qualities, and how he functions. It's all framed with the idea that he's sending Bruce Maddox just a report of how he's doing, how he's operating, and trying to adapt to becoming more human. So there's lots of things going on in the ship. We mentioned in the next time on last week that there was the wedding, O'Brien's wedding with his wife Keiko, who I've never met before, I don't think, but she's here now.
Definitely not met her before, because it stood out to me, because they were like, Data, you set us up. I was like, what?
Oh, we definitely didn't have that plot, I knew that much. But
No, but I don't remember seeing her at all.
So we have that, but we also have a more serious crisis that ultimately happens with this Vulcan ambassador. Well, alleged Vulcan ambassador. More on that when we get to it. But other than that, it's a lot of individual, almost vignettes of Data with various characters.
Damn it, that's the word I was going to use.
Well, I'm so sorry. What do you want from me?
I want you to have some patience and not leap to the good words right away.
What do you want me to do? Dumb everything down for the intro so you can swoop in with some big fancy words?
That would be lovely.
Well, no, tough. But essentially, there's a lot of good bits of drama here or there, but for the most part, this is just a really good episode that's mainly works because of the comedy of Data not understanding humans, and him predicting, because there's a lot more narration in this episode. He's constantly doing this log, kind of internally, and he's talking about, for example, the opening of the episode is that he goes to see Keiko, because he's going to be giving her away in the wedding. He's been asked to, be the father of the bride, as it were. And he goes to see her, and she's really upset and says, I think it would be best if this, we call this off. And he's like, what, the rehearsal? No, the wedding. It's like, you wish to cancel the rehearsal? And she explains that she's not happy. And he's like, well, would cancelling the wedding make you happy? He's like, well, yes. And could you please, go to O'Brien and tell him? And Data goes to O'Brien, and he thinks internally that O'Brien said in the past that he wishes to do whatever it takes to make Keiko happy. So he presents it as, oh, Chief O'Brien, good news! There's news of Keiko, something that'll make her happy. He's like, oh, what is it? She's decided to call off the wedding. And I think that's actually the what leads into the titles. That's right
at the start. Yeah,
that's our opening kind of like cut to titles. And it's just Data essentially internally going, I may have miscalculated something here. And there's just a little beats like that throughout the episode of him like saying he's pretty sure of something, but he has no intuition. He has no gut feeling on something, and he wishes he did because something feels maybe a little off. It actually foreshadows kind of the twist with the Vulcan ambassador. So, how did you feel about this episode?
I liked a lot of the stuff that was happening. There was a lot of funny moments. I wasn't really feeling the narration. That kind of took me out of it a bit much. It was overdone, I think, for my taste.
That's funny, because I actually really like the narration, mainly because I think that's what separates it and sort of solidifies what it is as an episode. Because if it was just what we were having without the narration, it would still feel like it's focusing on, it's called Data's Day. And, I jokingly referred to this title last time as like, why is Data getting a special day when it's someone else's wedding? But that's the point of the episode, is that it's not a special day for Data, it's just one of Data's days. This is just what his day is like, and how he interacts with all these different crew members. And because I think early on he lists all the things that are going on in the ship. There's like, there's a school play happening, there's at least someone giving birth, there's some just coming.
Really nice moments of normalcy, and by that I mean things we don't usually see on the ship's operational side, where when they're changing over shift and change from day to night mode, and the lighting all changes, and so on.
Oh yeah, that was a nice little bit sort of, I don't even want to call it mythology per se, but just the world, a little bit of the world. I mean, some of these scenes though are super fun. Trying to pick a wedding gift, and obviously not even on top of that, not understanding when Geordi says, "Oh, there'll be a wedding. Don't worry." I mean, I know it looks like it's not going to be right now, but trust me, they're going to end up being married by the end of the day. And Data doesn't get it, but he has to go get a wedding gift. So we have a scene with him and Worf trying to pick wedding gifts, and Worf being inadequate, I suppose, to actually give advice on a human wedding, and going, "My Earth parents would often give these," and he's talking. It's like wine glasses or something he's looking at.
It was a perfectly fine wedding gift.
Yeah. But I got a good chuckle when he switched to the next thing, and it was like a glass swan or something like that. And Data said, I did read though that wedding gifts are supposed to reflect the personality of the person giving the gift. This does not remind me of you." This glass swan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give me a good chuckle.
Is that a thing? Reflecting the personality? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, wedding gifts, you pick off the registry, that'll do.
I imagine there's different customs depending where you are. I would have assumed more it's meant to reflect the personality of the people getting married based on what you think of them.
In my experience, they tend to have a list of, here's a bunch of, suggested gifts, and you just kind of pick one off it, like an Amazon wish list.
Well, often, yeah, they sometimes do, but that doesn't mean that everyone does that for a wedding.
Well, no, but I mean, my point there was it was about the people receiving rather than giving.
Oh, of course, yes. Well, that's done, of course, in many ways to avoid people getting 5 toasters
yes.
at a wedding.
Or just shit gifts in general.
Or maybe, someone gets some cutlery, which is a solid thing that a new couple who maybe... Now, admittedly, the whole idea of people only moving in together once they get married is kind of a really old-fashioned idea that most people have already been living together for a long time before they get married now. But the idea being that you're starting a new household, so you need all these household things. In that event, you don't need 10 cutlery sets. You don't need...
Really what it's for is to avoid people giving you shit like that swan.
Yes. I mean, I have no need for wine glasses either, but I at least concede that they have more of a purpose.
You may have guests.
I may. I try to avoid it if I can, but yeah.
And given the state of the world right now, probably not for the foreseeable future.
Yes.
But the point stands.
Dear. So no, that was enjoyable. Even just him trying to get jabs correctly. He calls Geordi a lumphead, I think he calls him. After Geordi's he's got some back and forth with his barber, his alien barber, and he tries to play along. Calls Geordi a lumphead, and Geordi, having never heard an insult coming from Data, presumably, leans forward and goes, "Lumphead? We're talking about Data."
This? And
it's not like he's so much offended, more that he's just concerned almost,
confused.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to get friendly, jabbing and try to understand that. He's like, "Oh well, maybe don't try that one with the captain." just an idea.
Good advice.
Yeah, because we see him sort of observe Riker being popular with the crew. We see him. He goes to Troy at one point for. This is when he's trying to patch the marriage back up. He's trying to put them back together.
Yeah, because I think he said Kiko should go and see Troy because that's kind of her job. And it's like, well, no, you and Data, you know her better, so it should be you.
Of course, O'Brien comes to Data for help, and again, Data kind of reading the instructions on how to be a human a little bit too literally when it says you'll try and make someone you've wronged more comfortable, and he literally offers him a pillow at one point during the
or a better chair.
Would you like some music? Maybe a beverage. But it all kind of, again, it all comes back to because this scene actually does have some kind of interesting ideas here where Data has actually considered that he might want to get married someday and what that would mean, because he seems really disappointed, for lack of a better word, when Troy makes a point of saying that growing old together is part of what a marriage is, and he says, well, I can't do that. I can't grow old with someone. That's not how I work. And obviously she immediately just tries to reassure him and makes it very clear that, well, yeah, it's kind of that kind of became a thing of marriage because we're all human, but it doesn't necessarily disqualify you from a marriage. It makes your marriage different, but anything with Data is going to be different because he's not human.
Part for the course, yeah.
But no, just that idea that he has that desire is an interesting little bit of character building. I think it's impressive that 4 seasons in, we can have an episode like this, and it does kind of feel like it's not betraying anything we already know about Data. If anything, it's kind of cool that they're referencing Maddox again.
fresh elements to it, though.
Yeah, it's fleshing it out. It's expanding it a little bit, and him, how he reacts in different situations with the marriage stuff. With I mean, we should get to the dancing, which again plays mostly for comedy, where he realizes he's supposed to dance at this wedding. He goes to Crusher because Crusher has a history of winning some awards.
The dancing doctor, apparently.
Yes, the dancing doctor once upon a time. And she's like, okay, keep it between us, but I'll teach you how to dance. And I'm glad they addressed this, because see, when they went to the holodeck and she started showing him tap dancing, obviously it was very funny that he could literally just watch her feet and then just recreate it immediately. And it was making her very frustrated that he was just, she's like, oh, I guess you've got the basics. He's basically a master at it, like immediately, because it's all math to him. And I was really glad that this became a point in the scene, because I was sitting there, I was like,
why is she
tap
teaching
dancing?
this?
Yeah, tap dancing. Oh, wait, that's a bit weird. And then eventually he mentions it's for the wedding, and then she's like, and then she raises this point, like, oh wait, this is for the wedding? No one tap dances at a wedding. Although I did like the joke where he says, why not? And she's like, well, I don't know, Data, but no one does. I appreciate that, because that was genuinely quite funny.
It was. Yeah.
I don't know why people don't. I mean, because
her being like, maybe they should.
No, I guess it's because no one really knows how to tap dance. Like, unless you're into tap dancing specifically, you probably don't know how to do it.
And then you've got to come prepared with your tap shoes.
Yes.
And you've got to have an appropriate surface. Even assuming you know how to tap dance, and you show up at this wedding reception, so okay, now you got to get the right surface. You got to have change your shoes. That's a whole lot of effort.
Yeah. Plus, it's not very romantic, I suppose, is for lack of a better term. It's very singular.
I'm not sure I agree that it's singular, having seen, quite large, intricate groups. I will agree that it's not romantic.
Well, okay. If more people happen to know how to tap dance, maybe you can do some group tap dancing.
Yeah, you can do a bit of a performance,
But that's my point, though. It's a performance. It's not like an expression of, I don't know, like, dancing at a wedding or dancing in a romantic sense tends to be a movement you take part in with another person that you can both feel a part of and feel as one and go with the flow with the music. Tap dancing is something you do to an audience because it's impressive. That's not what dancing at a wedding is. So I guess I guess in a roundabout way I've answered the question, why is no one tap dance at a wedding? But
you have. We've thoroughly deconstructed this joke.
Yes, it was funny though. I mean, I'm not trying to take away from the joke itself.
No, it was pretty good.
So the main gist of the episode, though, this kind of loosely hinted at in the first half, where it's kind of they're being mysterious about this ambassador who won't speak in front of anyone but Picard, and because everything in this episode is from Data's perspective, whatever Data doesn't know, we don't know either. So we're just hearing little bits, but we know it's about the Romulans in some way, but we don't know quite what.
Just whispers here and there.
We're going somewhere towards the neutral zone. What's going on? It does kind of take over the episode a little bit in the back half, where it becomes more of the crisis, and I guess it was always going to do something like that at some point.
I think to a fault though, because I think if we are comparing this to Zeppo, which I think is an annoyingly fair comparison.
And what's the Zeppo from again? Oh yes, the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yes. That episode does not do that. Shit still goes down, but it's just in the background still. It never becomes the focus.
I think that's the difference between Data and Xander as characters. The whole point of that episode in Buffy is that Xander's kind of this oddball, like he's not really useful in the fight itself, whereas Data is actually quite instrumental to the runnings of the ship, and he's usually up there when there's a crisis. So
as a rule, yes. In this particular scenario, don't get me wrong, he is the one that comes up with the solution, or more has a hunch about the answer, but it's not a hunch that was unique to only Data's mind or skill set. Anyone could have had this hunch in the background, and
wouldn't it be weird if he was not involved when the crisis started happening? He's been involved in every crisis we've ever had on this show.
I think if it was me, I would have done it a little, I would have structured it a little bit differently. So the crisis happened while the wedding was taking place, perhaps. And not have him, immediately called out of it. I don't know. I'd have to sit and think about it, but I can see ways forming.
Yeah, well, I can't. I don't know. I feel like you're giving them an impossible set of standards here for them to fit into this slot.
I don't think I am.
Data, is lieutenant commander and is always involved when anything big is going down on the ship.
Oh, come on. You know full well we have had many an episode where Data is not, doing much in the crisis.
Yeah, but he's always there. He's always present on the ship. He's always part of the senior staff of the ship. That's always the case.
I bet I can find episodes where he's not.
Oh, you might find one or two. But
this could have been one of those. Quite happily.
Nah. Yeah, if they did the opposite, you'd just be whining even more that it was unreal that he didn't go and get involved.
I would not.
Yes, you would be. You can sit there and deny it. You would be. The audience knows I'm right. They know I'm right on this. So let's just accept this for what it is. So what happens is that they're going to the neutral zone, and this, I mean, again, we don't really know the details at this point. We just know that there's some kind of negotiation maybe happening, or some kind of maybe even peace talks, but they're all secretive, and we don't really know what's going on. But then there's a malfunction when the transporter, transports. And to as far as the Enterprise can tell, O'Brien, on his wedding day no less, which is still up in the air as if it's going to happen.
A person.
It's like, wait, I've lost our bio readings. Oh, wait, I'm trying to manually fix this. Oh, no, there's just some meat left over on the transporter pad. Oh, shit, she might be dead. And then it plays out like the Romulans are pissed that this still sounds sketchy, like they've engineered something so they don't have to do these talks. And it's on the way back where Data, of course, figures out that this is all a show and the ambassador was beamed over and this was all a charade to make them think that she died instead. So they think it's like a kidnapping or something to that effect, and they're going there, they go back, and I did like this moment where Data tries to kind of predict what Picard's going to do. He sort of there's a moment of silence, and there's a lot of moments of silence because whenever he starts narrating, it tends to be like this little quiet beat.
Everything kind of drones out. But
he's like, well, the most normal, proper thing to do in this situation would be to report to Starfleet and await further orders. But it doesn't, it's like 17% chance of that happening. Picard's probably going to do something else. And when Picard turns around and says red alert, and just everyone starts getting into gear, it really did kind of feel, and I think this is where I maybe appreciate this more than you saying that Data shouldn't have been in the crisis as much, is that this is the life of being on a starship where it is all these little mundane things until something like this happens and it is red alert. It felt like everything just completely changed because...
I think I would have liked it if the red alert had hit while Data wasn't on the bridge. I think, and then he had to go and, okay, now there's a red alert, he has to go up and get involved. That would have interested me more.
Sure. So they go to the Romulan ship. The Romulans try to steer Picard down. They've got a second ship. At the end, eventually, there's actually more coming as well, so they're going to be very outnumbered. And basically, Picard is saying, no, we're not letting you kidnap a citizen. This is not happening. We're going to fight if we have to fight, essentially. And Data starts comparing it to poker. Starts talking about bluffing. And this is kind of what I like about a lot of this, is that it's not like he's starting from scratch and we're dealing with a brand new Data who's not understanding anything. This is a Data who's trying to adapt things that he's learned over the last 3 seasons to the situations. And in some cases, he's getting kind of close, but in some cases, he's kind of off. In this situation, he's actually dead on. That's essentially what's happening, is Picard is making a show of strength in the hope that it'll convince the other guy to back down and that, maybe we don't have to fight today. So... No, I appreciate that. And as I was saying earlier, when there's that scene where the ambassador talks to Data and wants to know some defenses about the ship and what the deflectors can take. And
she has an appropriate authorization code, but Data questions her anyway.
Yeah, and she's testing to see if his security's up to snuff.
So she claims.
Yeah, but anyway, as he walks off, he narrates to himself. And since Vulcans can't lie, which is a neat little sort of hint and tidbit because she's not a Vulcan. she's a Romulan pretending to be a Vulcan. So that's a nice little bit of foreshadowing there. But he says, I wish I had a gut feeling to discuss this. Which, him even saying that at this moment is kind of him having a gut feeling. Bizarrely.
Yeah, definitely.
And I kind of like that. I like that little touch. But sure enough, it's revealed that she's Romulan. She was a spy all along and she's just returning to her home. This was just her way of getting back, and Picard should probably turn around and go home. And at this point, yeah, there's going to be a 5-on-1 advantage for the Romulans. It's probably time to just go away, and he does.
Not worth it when, as the Romulan captain points out, we don't have any of your citizens, so there's no kidnapping to talk of.
if we have one of our citizens.
Yeah, it would basically just be an act of war.
So no, so they leave. And we have a wedding. Data, there's a scene where he finds out there's going to be a wedding because Keiko's changed her mind. And it's one of those things where did anything he did that actually help, or was it just the fact that there was a crisis and they were almost in a war with the Romulans that made her kind of realize, oh wait, I do actually want to get married. I realized that all my fears about being married were all kind of nonsense now in the face of this like almost death that we might have faced.
Probably the latter. I could have done with another scene in the middle, maybe, of her kind of coming around a little bit, maybe. Or are you seeing some of this? Not exposition of it, but just kind of seeing some of the process of it changing her mind.
I get why we don't. I get why the whole idea is that we don't see it, because Data doesn't get to see any of this. So to him, it is just this sudden change, and that's how he reacts. He's like, "Wait, what? Oh, okay." So it puts us in his shoes for that revelation, if one can call it that. So we have a wedding, and Picard makes a speech. He gets to marry them off, and because as he points out, ever since the olden days on old wooden ships, long before the Enterprise's days, captains get to marry people off on the ship. So only on their ship, though, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
That'd be weird otherwise.
Yes. Picard can't do marriages at Starbucks, just in case I don't want.
I mean, maybe if he applies to a license.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, though. He doesn't have to have a license, though, when he's a captain on his own ship.
No, he doesn't. But
the captaincy itself is the license.
Maybe he can, commandeer Starbucks and say, I'm requisitioning this as part of my ship for, the next 10 minutes.
A ship captain can't requisition a building.
Maybe he can if with enough authority.
It's just not like police commandeering a vehicle, which I'm pretty sure is complete bullshit and just made up in movies anyway. But it's not like that where it's like, oh, I'm taking, like, maybe if they're out in the sea, forgetting the spaceships, but we're talking about actual ships in the water, right?
Ship, yeah.
Right, you're on a ship and there's like a little speedboat. Maybe you can say, I'm commandeering this speedboat for use of this Navy operation or something. I don't know. But you can't commandeer a building as the Navy.
Look, all I'm saying is wartime powers can be extreme. And who knows what they can or cannot do.
That's what's next? The Air Force commandeering a car or
How else are they going to get to their planes?
Oh dear! Traffic cop commandeering a plane. That's what's next.
It's got to catch them somehow.
There's some parking tickets need to go out.
Yep.
That 747 needs to veer off course.
Could happen.
I mean, sure. I don't know. The episode ends as it started with Data coming back on shift for the night watch, because Data, of course, doesn't sleep. So he actually serves all day as lieutenant commander, and then is sort of on the bridge during the night shift, which is again,
it's convenient, isn't it?
All nice touch. Yeah, he gets to fill like a second role, so I guess Starfleet gets to save a bit of money.
I think he's technically not on duty for most of the day shift. Right.
True. Yeah, he's kind of wandering around doing different things. And I realised, before people correct me, I know they don't have any money. It was kind of a loose joke, okay? Right? Yeah. I know they don't have money.
Yeah, because he's not really on duty, I think, up until the crisis.
And
then he just kind of, he's there, so he might as well be.
I don't think it's he may as well be. I think when they're in a red alert situation, everyone's on duty.
No, but even before the red alert, he's kind of there. Oh yeah, but right?
This goes for every episode, though. He's always then on call when he's needed for something.
And we've seen that with the senior officer. I mean, Riker had his birthday interrupted.
That's right. The senior officers, that's just part of being that high up on the chain, is that they're indispensable in moments of crisis.
You're always on call, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure they get paid, except they don't, handsomely for for all that extra responsibility.
They get the good feeling of knowing they have a better rank than the schlubby little red shirts.
Sure.
Well, what they get in return.
On Next Gen, the captain has a red shirt.
The saying still works. It doesn't matter. It's not literal. God damn it! You still use red shirts. It's fine.
I do it in other things, but it's weird to use it in Star Trek where all the colours have changed.
It's not weird to use it in Star Trek. It's still the appropriate phrase to use. They are still, grunts are still the red shirts, regardless of whether or not the captain's in a red shirt or not.
It's fine from like later shows when they're all in one color, or when a movie and they're all in one color. But when they're literally got the same 3 colors, but they've all swapped around, it's. I mean,
it's still fine.
It's
contextual. No one was hearing me talk about red shirts and go, "Oh, he must be talking about Picard."
And Riker.
And right, yeah, no one was doing that. If I said red shirts, everyone knew what I meant, and that's what matters.
I enjoyed this episode. I feel like it was a chance to just kind of explore just how Data reacts to a lot of different situations, and we get a lot of this like interspersed over the show, of course, all these little moments. But this was, I think, adding his narration to how his thought process is working before he says something that comes out really weird. It gave it a lot of context, and it's not something we have to do again, if ever. But it,
I'll be surprised if they do.
Yeah.
So it's a 1 episode gimmick, and like I say, for me, I think it overdid it on the narration. I don't mind some of it, but I think it did it just a bit too much for my taste. But there are a lot of things in there that I did enjoy.
Car's been a negative Nancy, but that's neither.
I literally just ended that with there are a lot of things in there I enjoyed.
You've had a negative tone all this episode. That's all I'm saying.
I wonder why.
Next up, episode 12 of the season. It's called The Wounded. Here's the description on IMDb. After being fired upon by a Cardassian vessel, not a Kardashian, as I've made the mistake of before. The Kardashians evolve and they become this regime in space in the future, and
they're terrifying enough as it is already.
I don't really know anything about the Kardashians. I've heard
the name. Really.
A bunch of rich people who no one can quite exactly tell me why they're famous, but they just are. But
I don't have an answer for you.
Anyway, after being fired upon by a Cardassian vessel, Picard races against time to find out the facts behind the Cardassian commander's claim that the Federation attacked one of their outposts. Sounds like a good diplomatic and tense episode.
Could be interesting.
So we'll see how that goes. So that has been episode 11 of Next Gen Season 4, and we'll be back next time with The Wounded. So please do hit the like button. It's super important and is the easy and free way to support us. You can also do so financially over at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV for as little as $1 per month. You can also get some bonuses while you're at it. You can also catch us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates, but otherwise that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching Star Trek, and somewhere out there at Starfleet Academy, Wesley Crusher is in complete control. Not even of the ladies, just in general.